Hello, fellow classmates from Educational Leadership 683. This is the Jim Collins Author Study presentation. My name is Adam Flugie, and I will be the voiceover, and Bridget Elias is providing the visual component of the presentation. Thank you and enjoy. Jim Collins' background and biography information presented by Chelsea DeFluter. Collins received a bachelor's degree in mathematical sciences and an MBA from Stanford University. He received an honorary doctoral degree from the University of Colorado. Collins attended Peter F. Drucker Graduate School of Management at Claremont Graduate University, and he began research and his teaching career on the faculty at Stanford Graduate School of Business. Research and works focus on how a business grows, how they attain superior performance, and how good companies become great companies. In 1992, he received the Distinguished Teaching Award. In 1995, he founded a management laboratory in Boulder, Colorado. Collins invests in large-scale research projects, often 5 or more years in duration, to develop fundamental visions and then translate those findings into books, articles, and lectures. Collins works directly with executives to develop practical tools for applying the concepts from his research. He works mostly with social sectors, including education, healthcare, government, faith-based organizations, social ventures, and cause-driven nonprofit organizations. 2012-2013, Collins had the honor to serve a 2-year appointment as the Class of 1951 Chair for the Study of Leadership at the United States Military Academy at West Point. He has a particular hobby, and he's an extremely passionate rock climber. For the books that he has participated in and written, he's invested a quarter century of research into the topic. He has authored or co-authored a total of 6 books and sold more than 10 million copies. Some of his books include Good to Great, which is a #1 bestseller and examines why some companies and leaders make the leap to superior outcomes. Good to Great and the Social Sectors is the enduring classic. Built to Last explores how leaders build companies that remain visionary for generations. How the Mighty Fall, which delves into how once great companies can self-destruct. Great by Choice explains how thriving in chaos, while some do and others don't, and the leadership behaviors needed in a world affected by disruption, uncertainty, and dramatic change. His work has been featured in Fortune, The Economist, Business Week, USA Today, Industry Week Incorporated, and Harvard Business. Chris Adkins was tasked with looking at Collins' philosophies on leadership. Although there are about 15 articles in the leadership section of Collins' website, most of those were more than 10 years old. Chris chose to concentrate on 4 of the articles published since 2005. The first article is titled Fast Company's Greatest Hits, 10 Years of the Most Innovative Ideas in Business. The article outlines the path Alan Weber and Bill Taylor took to create the business trend magazine Fast Company. It looks at the change in the mindset from building companies and having an impact to now flipping companies, getting rich and cashing out. Collins describes their 5 basic premises to reestablish the connection between life and work. Premise number 1. Work is not a means to an end, it is an end in itself. If you create work that drives passion, then work itself will have meaning. Premise number 2. If your competitive scorecard is money, you will always lose, based on your answer to the question, how much is enough? Premise number 3. Business is a mechanism for social change, for good and for ill. Great businesses have an impact, although some are positive and some are negative. Premise number 4. Entrepreneurship is a life concept, not just a business concept. You can be an entrepreneur without starting a company, but by following a unique life path. Premise number 5. Performance is the fundamental requirement. Good intentions mean nothing without great performance. The central theme throughout Fast Company's editions is that nothing great happens without passion. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, then it's time to change. Leadership Lessons from West Point was written after Collins visited West Point in 2005 for a gathering of leaders from business, social sectors, and the military. Collins discovered during his visit that the Army has its own framework of leadership: be, know, do. It states that disciplined action means that you begin with a framework of core values, the be. You meld those values with knowledge and insight, the know. And finally, you make situation-specific decisions to act, the do. One of the major questions during the group discussion was whether leadership can be learned. They decided that you have no choice. You are a leader. The question is whether you will be an effective leader. Collins used his concept of level 5 leadership, which was one of our required readings, to draw conclusions about leadership development. He deduced that West Point develops leaders with the ideals of service, dedication to cause, loyalty to comrades, sacrifice, courage, and honor. How the Mighty Fall discusses the concept that all businesses go into a decline at some point during their existence. Collins describes this concept in what he calls the 5 stages of decline. Stage 1, hubris born of success. People sometimes overemphasize the impact they have had on their success, failing to acknowledge the role luck and chance played. Stage 2, undisciplined pursuit of more. Instant success often leads to undisciplined growth or increase in unknown areas. Stage 3, denial of risk and peril. Leaders discount all negative data and factors and focus on positives even though their company is in trouble. Stage 4, grasping for salvation. Company is in serious decline now, so leaders took for a savior such as a charismatic visionary leader, a bold but untested strategy, a radical transformation, a dramatic cultural revolution, a hope for blockbuster product, a game-changing acquisition, or any number of other silver bullet solutions. Stage 5, capitulation of irrelevance or death. The company has now deteriorated to the point of no return. Collins states that if a company has any chance of rebound, they must catch the problem by stage 3. The final article in this section, Great by Choice, is probably the most interested of the articles in the leadership section. In it, Collins describes the concept of the 20-mile march. He portrays an image of a person walking from San Diego to Maine, going 20 miles per day, no more, no less. In the story, this person arrives in Maine before another person who walks as many possible miles per day. More when the weather is favorable, less when it is bad. The moral is that if you want to achieve consistent performance, you need both parts of a 20-mile march: a lower bound and an upper bound, a hurdle that you can jump over, and a ceiling that will not rise above, the ambition to achieve and the self-control to hold back. Collins uses Southwest Airlines and Progressive Insurance as example of companies who have this concept of the 20-mile march to become leaders in their industries. The conclusion drawn by all of these articles is something we may all already have known, that effective leadership is paramount to an organization's level of success. Collins uses his imagination and connections effectively to help inform the readers of how this leadership looks on many different levels. Dan Harrell was asked to cover strategy. Collins mentions powerful information about having the right strategy and approach in order to have success. Concentrating on products or services is not what makes a business relevant. Companies need to focus on framing their identity in terms of their core purpose rather than in terms of their products or services. It's more important than ever to define yourself in terms of what you stand for. Determine where you want to lead your team by staying with your vision. Always have a plan or idea and then follow through with that plan, because your plan is important and you believe in it, and your teachers will too. Be really clear about what you stand for and why you exist. You can see what you could do with a much more open mind. This will enhance your ability to adapt to change. It is important that we acknowledge our strengths or things we are really good at. Capitalizing on our strengths will improve our leadership qualities and also improve some of the weaknesses that we may have as well. This will help guide your school's choices. When thinking about how we profit, we should consider how we will benefit from these choices. Our profit can come from test scores and teacher-student performance throughout the school year. This strategy will show purpose and keep you on the right track to inspire the people in the building. It should be applicable for the future. It will encourage you to think outside of the box and check yourself. It will help you learn about things you do not want to do, and as a leader, it is essential to stick up for the things you are passionate about for your building's well-being. If you do not stand up for anything, there is a good chance your building never will. This strategy will show purpose and keep you on the right track to inspire the people in the building. It should be applicable for the future. It will encourage you to think outside of the box and check yourself. It will help you learn about things you do not want to do, and as a leader, it is essential to stick up for the things you are passionate about for your building's well-being. If you do not stand up for anything, there is a good chance your building never will. Our next section, Self-Management, is presented by Mike Seitz. Everyone wants to have some type of success in life. This is the very reason why we are in grad school. The question is, at what price are we paying for that success? There needs to be a balance between success and having a life. Jim Collins talked about this in both his articles and his book, Good to Great. The key is to find that balance. The 5 premises described will show how this is possible, how to have success and not lose your mind in the process. Work is not a means to an end, it is an end to itself. What this is meaning that work is not the end all be all. The key here is doing work that you are passionate about. Having a passion for what you are doing will drive the rest. The important thing to remember is that if you do not care for something, then you will not be fully invested. It is not worth doing something that you do not love to do. If your competitive scorecard is money, you will always lose. Yes, money is important, but should not be what drives you. See point 1, is all of the money going to make you happy? There is more than one way to be wealthy. Business is a mechanism for social change, for good and ill. This is meaning that you can build something great, and something great can change lives. As teachers and administrators, you can go through the motions. However, we do have the opportunity to really create change. The change can be done with students, the community, or even society. If you can change the way a building is ran, it can change the way the students and staff feel. This will have a trickle effect. Entrepreneurship is a life concept, not just a business concept. This premise might sound confusing at first, but it boils down to choosing a path. We do this every day. Which way are we going to go?